Check. Hello everyone, it looks like we are live. I'll wait and make sure we've got audio and everything going well before we get going here. Let's see. I'm just gonna wait until there's a comment that says we've got good audio. Oh God, hold on. I didn't charge my phone like I should have. And so now I'm having to reach way over to the charger, which is not in the best location. I need to work on that. Let's see. All is good. Okay, we are good to go. So tonight we are working in pan pastels and colored pencils, and I'm working on Inktense. This is a grayish kind of tan color. It's a little bit more gray than what I've got. I may have to adjust the lighting on this. We'll see as I get going. This is on the smooth side. I've got it taped down with an acid-free. That is a pH neutral tape. So let's see what else on this one. This one will be matted. It's it's a 5x7. So in the mat, it ends up being, let's see which. It will only fit about that, well, it'll actually fit more like that. So it'll fill in the entire space, but I always leave a little bit of extra all the way around. So, and I make sure to fill that in. That way, when I put it on the mat, I'm not having to worry about, did I get enough color all the way to the edge? Let me tell you, that is really annoying when you've been working in colored pencil, especially, and you have to go back and fill the edges so it fits the mat. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill all the way to the edges, even though they're not all going to show in the once it's matted. This one, as always, you can bid on it during the live stream if you are here in the US. The link is in the video description. And oh, we have, before we get started, from Sylvia. Thank you. Oh, look at, they know. Would you guys like a super chat from Sylvia? Yeah, come on, come get your super chat. Thank you, Sylvia. Come on, Wade. Bad Cow wasn't sure, huh? You're a little bit pushy there, sir. Back up, back up. You know the rules. I don't know why he's been pushy all day about his treats. There's yours. That wasn't very gentle, Cow. That was a little bit chompy. My fingers got in there. Thank you again so much, Sylvia. Oh, we have another, wait, I'm making them lay down because otherwise they stand here and think they're gonna get two every time. Lay down, lay down, lay down. Training purposes here. We'll get started in the art in just a second here. We have Kristen said, for the doggos or the froggings, happy Christmas. Thank you so much. Gibson, lay down, lay down. I have oh, there's an orchid in the way there. I have a feeling if I do two in a row, well, not I have a feeling, I know from experience, if I do two in a row without making them lay down in between, every time I give them one, they're like, well, one time you gave us two, can't we have two? Okay, come get a super chat. He's like, no, I don't believe you now. You want another super chat? Okay. We have one from Kirsten here again. Thank you so much. That one is too big. That will take you forever to chomp on. You'll end up crunching it into a million pieces on the floor. That was much nicer, Cow. Good job, Cow. He's like, I just needed more practice. More treats mean less chomping. Okay, go lay down. No, that's your slobber. You're not going to lick that off the floor. Go lay down. Lay down. Gibson, go lay down. Lay down. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started here. And let's see. So I'm going to do my base layers with pan pastels, and this will save a ton of time. If you don't have pan pastels, you can do this all with colored pencil. It's just going to be a bit more time, well, a lot more time consuming. The pan pastels allow me to very quickly lay that color in there. Now the color that I want for that background is mainly that teal color. If you want this reference photo, it is linked in the video description. You can go download this and draw this yourself. But we've got a teal sort of background there. So my colors, I'm going to be mixing my phthalo blue and phthalo green in order to achieve that. And what I do is just mix these together right on the palette. I don't care if it gets messy. I've never had it really cause any issues that bothered me. So that's what we're going to do. And we're just going to go ahead and put that in there. See how it gives us this beautiful teal color. And again, I'm going all the way to the tape, even though I know that's going to be cut off. That's going to make sure that I fill everything in and don't have to worry about that. That one's a little bit more blue, so let's grab some green and go right over that. And that's generally how I mix teal, even in painting. Phthalo blue and phthalo green, it's about a 50-50 mixture. And I want to make sure I go all the way up to the mouse's fur because some of that white needs to overlap into the teal. The pan pastels are really opaque, so you can see I've got great coverage right away, even with just one layer. Same thing, we're going to pull some teal. Oh, I'm not getting enough green in there. Go all the way up to the mouse. I would rather go on over the mouse than not quite fill the space in enough. This is the miracle of pan pastels. Look how fast I got that. Like, can you imagine how long that is going to take with just colored pencils? And I'm not saying I don't love just colored pencil work too, but when you're trying to get something done quickly, my gosh, you just cannot beat this. You can barely hear me and you've got everything turned up. I've got it all the way up. There's unfortunately nothing else. Yeah, everything looks like it's good over here. Yeah, there's nothing else I can do to make myself louder. I'm sorry. I'm not sure why that's happening for you. On my end, it looks like my volume's on the very high end. So yeah, I can't fix that. I'm sorry. Now, when I get into this area where I want that yellowy color, I cannot use this sponge or I'm just going to get green. I need to use a clean one. So we're going to go ahead and let's see, you look good. I've got one that I don't even know what I used it on last, but we're going to go, I'm going to go with, I think it's like a what was it, derelid yellow? I don't know. I can't say it. I'm going to pull a little of that yellow oxide in there. We'll pull that. Notice I'm not smudging too much into either area yet. I'm going to pull green over it a bit. I'm going to pull a little bit of an orangey color right in between here. Pull a little bit over there, not too much. Remember, anywhere it goes over there, that's going to get more green. So if you don't want green, just be aware of that. Now I'm reloading, so I've got my phthalo blue and phthalo green again. And I'm just going to lightly go in between here. Not too much because that transition is going to get more green. And I think what I will do is pick up some gray right in between those two. Just pull some lighter areas. Yeah, I really like how that looks. That's a nice transition between those two. And then I'm going to pull back. What I'm doing when I load this, you can see how it's starting to pick up a little of the teal. I just wipe it off on my paper towel or an old rag. And then let's soften this up a bit so it fades out nicely. Okay, now we are going to grab some black. And I'll probably just use the same one. I'm going to pull the teal up a little bit into the mouse now. We'll be pulling other colors as well, but let's get some of that in there now. And then I can use the same brush with the same soft tool with the brush. And the link for all the supplies I'm using are linked in the video description. That did not come out right, but you guys know what I mean. You're artists, you're smart. Now I need to pull my black here in a little bit farther than what I've got because most of this gets chopped off by that mat anyway. So it feels like when I look at the reference photo, I know that it's all the way over to the corner, but in reality, that corner gets chopped off. So I'm going to pull that in a bit further. And I'm going to pull a shadow right under the mouse. Right back through here. And then I'll just wipe some of that pan pastel off onto my paper towel. so that I can use the same one to blend without putting too much more black over it. And I think I'm going to pull, I'm going to wipe, same thing, I'm just wiping this. You can see here where I'm wiping it. I'm just wiping that on my paper towel. It's a Viva paper towel, so it's going to work way better than like your Bounty paper towel for something like this. I'm going to reload my brush with some more teal. And we're just going to go right over this transition between the black and the teal there. Let that pull out. And I'm going to, again, pull this into the mouse just a bit. So what we don't want, like right here, can you see how there's a line where the yellow doesn't quite go up to the mouse? I want to make sure, and I don't actually need that yellow. So I'm just going to go right over the mouse. I would rather overlap into the mouse than have that outline where the background doesn't look like it goes all the way behind it. Okay, so there's my background. Again, this is why I love Pan Pastels so much. It's just so fast when you want a quick project. Now I've got two sponges here. Actually, you've got pink on you, but that can work. We'll keep you for, well, heck, we'll just load you up now. So this one, you can see it has pink from a previous project. I think that was from last week's glitchy project. So I'm going to mix some of that. I'm going to use some, I believe is that burnt sienna? Yeah, burnt sienna. Get a little bit of pink, a little bit of white. I really need to order more white. I am running low on that. And I'm going to fill in, oops, too much white. Let's get some more, let's go with red oxide and pink. Let's fill in the base layer where the nose goes. Now, this area in here, if you look at that reference photo, again, link is in the description. You can download that yourself. So those who are about to complain, actually, it's never you guys during the live stream that come, well, maybe you do. I just don't see it. It's always like after people watching later complaining. They want me to get rid of the dogs and change that with the reference photo. But you can go download the reference photo and put that anywhere on the screen you like. So anyway, this area needs to be pretty dark because the white colored pencil, if this isn't dark enough, the white colored pencil won't show up enough. So anywhere where it's under the white fur of the nose, I am going to get that fairly dark, and around the eye as well. So that's red oxide or iron oxide, I think it's called with this one, with Pan Pastels. Same thing right around the eye. And I'm going to put a little bit of that same color to pull some in the ear there. And let's go ahead and swap over. I don't even need to clean this. I can just jump right over to the brown. I'm going to pull some of my burnt sienna into the brown though, so it's a little bit warmer, not so grayish brown. This I need to get, actually I don't even need to go that dark because I can put darks over it. I can do the reverse. As long as I've got contrast between my light and my dark, I'll be fine. We've got some out here with his little mouse spots. Do any of you guys keep mice as pets? I think they're so cute. And then we've got a little shadow there. We'll be pulling a lot of white that will mix in with most of this. So again, using my brown and my red oxide, just mixing those two together. That's a little bit too much. So let's go with a little bit of black and red oxide. That will give me a deeper brown. More black. There we go. And I'm just darkening some of this up. I need more black. There we go. This is going to look really out of focus until we come through with the colored pencil. We'll be doing all those touch-ups with that. Let's see, anywhere else? I need to get the little pink feet, so I'm going to wipe this black off using that same brush. And these little feet are really out of focus, so there's not a lot of detail there. We just want to get that hint of where they would be. This one especially. So I'm just going to pull some of that dark because of the white that will come over that. And let's get some, we'll go with that red or burnt sienna and some white mixed together. We're inside the ear now. Okay, now I need a clean brush for the white, otherwise it's going to get super muddy. So this one actually, it's dirty on that side, but this side is clean, so I can use that, or clean enough. Cleanish. So we've got really bright white. Now this is important. The thing that struck me about this reference photo and why I chose it, this one came from, it was either Unsplash or Pixabay. I'm fairly certain it was Unsplash. But the reason that what I was drawn to so much on this photo versus other photos of mice, this one, the lighting, the glow that this guy has with his fur, that looks so good. And that's going to feel scary. If you are newer to painting and drawing, it's normal to feel a little uncomfortable getting that much contrast. So what I see a lot of people who are new do is they try to use these mid-range tones. Instead of the bright, bright and dark darks, it feels more comfortable to be mid-range. Mid-range is boring and is not going to look as good. It would look better if your drawing wasn't even as accurate. You didn't have as much detail, but you got that lighting right. That's what's going to make yours look even better than somebody else's who maybe had more accurate line drawing, if that makes sense. It's really interesting if you ever get the chance to listen to people, like at a gallery show, listen to people talk about the art as they're walking around. There was one that I remember going 2 years ago, and there was an artist who was amazing, very accurate, but it was like a midday landscape. Accurate, beautiful landscape, but boring because midday. You know, you didn't have those strong lights and darks. And they had that painting was hung right next to somebody who was clearly newer to art, was not terribly accurate, but the contrast was just so striking. Everyone was drawn to the amateur artist, because this was a show that had amateurs and professionals together. They were drawn to what would be considered the amateur, but the amateur had better lighting, better contrast. That's what the average viewer is drawn to. So that's really what we want to capture in here. And as much as you can do that anyway, when you're choosing reference photos, get something that has really high contrast. Also, well, really quick here, we've got from Michael Lindsay, thank you so much. Merry Christmas and another great New Year. Thank you so much. Do you boys want a super chat from Michael? I think that's a yes. Everyone's going to make you fat hounds for Christmas. That is so kind of you guys. Like everyone with the super chats, thank you so much. Oh, wow. Look how gentle that cow was. I don't know if you guys could see. So, oh, geez. Gibson, did you drool on your brother's head? Lovely. Thank you. Good boy. I'm not petting your head again. You're soaked. Go lay down. Thank you again, Michael, so much. Lay down. Down. Boys, lay down. Cow. Go lay down. All the way. There we go. Gibson. Gibson. His new thing, they're supposed to lay down when I feed them, side dog story. They're supposed to lay down in order to get fed. Gibson's thing lately has to be to leave his butt in the air, which is not the same thing. So he's been pushing his luck with the rules, trying to see how far he can bend them. And it's hard to get mad because it's kind of hilarious, but I think he knows that I think it's hilarious because he keeps doing it. Okay, so we've got some highlights in here. We've got some white that comes behind the ear. And again, we'll make this look more fluffy later. Right now, I'm just getting this base layer. Let's see, this is a soft transition in the back area because that's more out of focus. We've got white right along the edge here. We'll just kind of want that to blend into the background a little bit because this is out of focus as well. And the reason that when I saw this photo, it was either oil paints or pan pastels I wanted to go with. Oil paints just for a live stream are difficult time-wise. But with the out of focus portion, that's so easy. It's such an easy look to achieve with pastels. You guys know I don't work with like normal pastels because I hate how dry they feel. Like it freaks me out on my hands. These don't do, like these I don't have any problems with. They don't have that dry, chalky feel, but it's really easy to get that beautiful out of focus look. So if that's the look that you like, this would be the medium I would go with on those more out of focus projects. Just lightly getting this wispy look on the edge. And I'll put more little wisps on top of that with the pencils. Okay, so this area is actually fairly dark. I'm going to switch back to one of the other ones that I used pink. We'll use some of that brown, maybe a little bit of black and red oxide. So even though it's technically a white part of the mouse, it's in deeper shadow. So we need to make sure that stays nice and dark. We have a little light area. We'll let it blend in. And let's see. This area in here, same thing, kind of a medium tone. So I'll just use the brown. We'll get the details with the white pencils. A little bit of a transition there. I want to pull a little bit more of that pink. So I'll use red oxide and my magenta. I get a little bit more purpley pink around the eye there. A little bit more purple. Too much of the red oxide. Now, again, this isn't the brown part of the mouse, but in order for that pencil to show up, and that is one of the parts that we have detail, I need to go ahead and make that light now. So let's see, I'm going to soften some of this with a little bit of the brown right in through here. Remember, if your lights aren't light enough, your darks won't feel dark enough. And then the same in reverse. If your darks aren't dark enough, your lights won't feel light enough. So if you're having a hard time or you're like, my whites just don't look like they glow enough, it's because what they're next to it is probably not dark enough. So we have a tendency, we'll keep like putting white on more and more white, but the white isn't necessarily the problem. Quite often, it's that what's next to it is just not dark enough, so there's not enough contrast. Just get a little bit of black. I'm not going to go in crazy detail for the eyes. I'll just get the blocked in. Okay, so I'm going to put the pan pastels away for now. I'm going to swap this out for my colored pencils, but I may come back and use these, so we won't put them too far away. Maybe I will. I'll just try to find a spot to put them where they don't get trampled. Okay, found a safe spot. Well, maybe not. If those fall, those might break. There we go. That'll work. And now let's grab the colored pencils. This is where we start really focusing on the details. Okay, let's see. First, we need to take our Spectrafix. I've got mine in a fine mist sprayer before I go on top of this with colored pencil, because if I just start going on with colored pencil, it doesn't stick very well. Like it just starts smudging and mixing in with what's already there. So this is going to help seal that down. And then I'll use a hairdryer to dry it faster. Not only does that dry it faster, but it also, when I use the Spectrafix, the paper is going to warp a bit because Canson Metense is like super, super absorbent. So the paper will warp. If you let it air dry, it will dry sort of flat because of the tape, but depending on how much of this I use, it might still be a little bit buckled. But if I use the hairdryer, that will solve that problem. So I'm just going to do a light misting. By light, I mean apparently 3 coats, and then dry that. Okay, now I'm going to put a piece of glassine right under this. That way I can rest my hand on the work. And let's start with the fur in the back, that soft look. And I'm going to be using my white polychromos because I don't want it to be too, the waxy, okay, let's actually explain this better. I'm going to back that up a bit. So my higher wax content pencil, so that's going to be my Caran d'Ache Luminance or my highest wax. Actually, Joint Drawing are probably my highest wax. Then the Caran d'Ache Luminance are my next. Those of you with Prismacolor, you would be in that area. Those are going to be more waxy and they stick more, but on this it's going to have almost a grittier look, whereas the polychromos, having a higher oil-based content, it's going to go on smoother. It won't be as opaque, but it's also going to be a lot smoother. So for this, where I want that out of focus look, the polychromos is going to be my go-to. Also, we've got, man, these boys are being spoiled. Oriole Beagle said puppies. Gibson knows. Okay, come get your super chat. Come on. You want to shoot? You're just going to sit there? I mean, I don't have to give it to you. Thank you so much, Oriole Beagle. There's yours. Be easy, cow. Oh, that's a good cow. You're still wet. Can you guys hear they're chomping? Those are really crunchy cookies. Yeah, those are tasty, huh? Okay, you're all done. Go lay down. Go lay down. Gibson. No. Gibson, you're not going to lick the floor. Go lay down. And this is why I have tile. I can't even imagine what my carpet would look like if I had carpets with these two. Lay down. Actually, to be fair, I probably spill as much on these floors as they drool, especially when doing water changes on the reef tanks. Okay, so I'm going to start by lightly getting some of these little wispy furs in there. Very lightly. And you could do this if you prefer pastel pencils. That would work too. Hold on. Let me see if I need this. My mom apparently forgot that it's live stream night. Is that all that was? Yes, she's sending me photos of her minion blanket. I don't know why. My mom is hilarious. Okay, moving on. Go. See how we're just getting little wisps. Not too much as we get back here. And then I can also soften some of this up if it's a little bit too harsh. I can take my Pan Pastel and just lightly go over that transition, just on that edge. Oops, it's a little too spotty. I am really using a light hand here because I don't want that to stand out too much. I'm going to just lightly go over that. Oh my gosh. Oh, she's watching the live stream. Apparently she just thinks I need to know about her minion blanket while I live stream. So she knows what I'm doing, but wants us all to know about her minion blanket. Oh my gosh, my mom is funny. So we're going to scooch over and start doing the detail on the ear and the fur right here. So this fur stays pretty out of focus, although I do want to bring in a little bit of an orangey color. This should work. Oh, do I not have, hold on one second. I don't have my sharpener over here. Hi, Dragon. Oh, where are all my sharpeners? I really need to clean. There we go. Does anyone else keep like little mason type jars from spaghetti sauce and stuff like that and use it for their art supplies? Because these things are amazing. Like I have one, that one's for my pencil shavings. I have some that hold a bunch of pencils. I have some that hold paintbrushes. This one, I think it was a salsa jar. It holds dog I can't say the word because I'll be overwhelmed by puppies trying to get them. So I'm going to come right in here. I think, you know what, I want to go with more of a peachy color. So let's use, this one is Light Flesh. I think they renamed this. I hope they did, because that word, the word flesh, just makes me think zombies. There we go. That peach color looks really good. Just right, just really subtle. Which works perfect for the ear. I'm pushing a little bit harder here. And then I can come back through on the ear with white. Let's define a few of these little mouse ear hairs. And I need a brown that's kind of similar. That'll work. This is Van Dyke Brown. This way we can clean up just around the edge of the ear there, because we're going to start really adding more definition. I'm going to add a little bit more than what my reference photo has. Remember, your reference photo is a guideline. You don't have to make everything exact. If you think your art would look better, if you make something a little bit different, it's actually what I talked a lot about that in this week's Patreon lesson. If you think it looks a little bit different to do something else, go for it. The painting that I just finished, an oil painting, my last day of painting, I didn't even have a reference photo out. I don't care at that point. I need to, like, what will make my painting better? And that's going to be the case here too. Reference photos are a must, but they're also not something that you have to make everything exact. You can look at them and decide you think yours would look better if you made something darker or lighter or more defined or less defined. Oh my gosh. What do we have? Oh no, this was the previous message. I really need to remember to charge my phone before the live stream, because it is not convenient with it being over there. Okay. Now I'm getting some little wisps that need to overlap that brown. Now you can see why it was so important to have the brown be dark enough, otherwise these white areas wouldn't stand out enough. And let's see. As we get into here, see, now again, that's why we needed that brown so dark there. We're going to scooch this over a bit. I'm also going to need some black. Let's grab that now. We've got a little bit of the darker black that'll mix in with the brown here, not too much. We'll have more close to the face. Make sure I get the shapes nice and clean around the eyes. We've got a nice highlight there. Let me grab a blue. You are too dark. Do I not have a lighter blue? I could use a light gray too if I need to. Yeah, that'll work. Oh, no. Decisions. So we've got this highlight right along the edge there. So it'd be better if I sharpen my pencil, but you know, the lazy is strong. Darker edge right around the eye there, right on the inner corner here too. Make sure that's nice and dark. Okay, and then I'm going to head back over to the white pencil. We've got some little frayed hairs in here. Now the markings on the mouse, in this case, if I didn't like what the markings were, I can make them something different, no big deal. But if you were doing a pet portrait, do not take those artistic liberties. That's one where you need to copy your photo. There, I've told this story so many times, but it's worth hearing again. There was an artist I knew on a Italian Greyhound forum, and She was hilarious anyway, because she described her work as being, or how did she word it? She compared herself with the old masters, which was hilarious because no, but she did a pet portrait for somebody, and she had the dog's markings reversed. Why she mirrored them, I don't know, but the person was like, that's not my dog. I can't even hang that. Like, the person who got it was pretty disappointed. You can't just change markings on somebody's pet. But if you're doing just a random, like I am a mouse, that this doesn't belong, I mean, at some point he belonged to somebody, but he doesn't now, you know, not in the artwork. You can change them if you feel it would look better. But be careful when it's an actual pet portrait. Those markings need to be exact. Because trust me, the owner will know. And I don't have to push very hard with this. I want to let some of that base, that brownish tone show through. Let's get his little snoot. So the hair through here is a little shorter. I'm going to need some pink colors. I don't know which of these I need, so we're just going to, actually, you're pretty good. Yeah, sure, whatever. Just grab a whole bunch. And that one works really well. That's Rose Carmine. So I think that's going to be my go-to pink for this. Just watch the direction of the fur, because it changes directions a lot. Really soft in here, not super well defined. And it'll look weird until we put the whiskers in, but you need to wait to put the whiskers in. You're going to want to put that in early. I know, because I've worked with so many students who tried to put it in too early. You need to wait, because that should go on top of everything else. Now this is where we start getting these little clumps, little teeny sections in here. We want some of that background color showing through. They get a little bit longer as we move away from the nose. And when we get around the eye, look at the direction that those are going. Pushing a little bit harder here, it's a little bit lighter. My arthritis is not happy about colored pencil night. I'll definitely be working in paint somehow with whatever this week's Patreon project is going to be. I think my hand wants a break. Now, right now, everything's a bit flat. We'll definitely be going through and doing some more shading on this. You can see I'm starting to really build out the direction of the fur. I've been doing too many birds lately. I wanted to call it feathers. Little mouse cheek. And as we get into here, it's really soft, so just lightly going over that. Just a bit more solid. Got more white right in here. Got a lot more pink in this ear. So we'll switch over to that peach. And I'm pushing pretty hard here. I'm going to come back through with the black, or not the black, the brown, right on the edge. Define that a bit more. Again, that's one area where I want mine to be a bit more defined than what the reference photo has. Get a white highlight right on the back of that ear. Okay, let's use the pink a little bit more around the eye. Define that more. I'm going to use brown to darken some of this around the nose. And we need a lot more white on some of this now. Gibson, stop it. Gibson. Hey, just move your head would be better. He tucks his head in and just licks his chest nonstop. And then ignores me when I tell him to stop. And he doesn't have Wade's excuse of being itchy because he doesn't have allergies. It's more of just a habit he developed. Again, I don't want this area of the face to be nearly as white as what I have out there. So I don't need to try to do that. I do want to slightly go over just to start getting it a bit more solid so it's not, his face isn't quite that scraggly. But I'm not pushing super hard there. Just wherever I want the definite little shapes. Okay, let's start coming around this one. We've got the brown and the black, a lot of both of those. So this brown is very similar to the brown I used before, so we'll just get some of those little wispy guys going through. Can also use this brown just a little bit around the eyes too. And I think his eye right now, that's too pink around the eye. I definitely want to come back there with some white or even gray, but I don't want it quite that pink. Let's fill that in a bit more. I want some pink poking through, but not that much. That's a bit better. Yeah, I like that a lot better. We can use some of this one is my burnt ochre. Pull a little bit of that in there for some variation right along here, that light area. And we'll get a little bit in here too. Now we're going to do the black. Let's get some darker, and I'm not pushing very hard because I'm not trying to make it super dark. The eyes are the only area where I really pushed hard. Like in here, I want that black to be defined. Little hints of fur. I can pull some into the white just a bit. Gibson, stop it. Okay. Oh, I'm really happy with how he's coming out. He is cute. Let's get some brown just right along that edge. And this white has to be super soft, so I'm not pushing hard. This is very out of focus in here. I want his ear to be more in focus though, a little or a bit sharper. I'm going to pull little brown hairs in there and then white over it. So now we're just going to be looking at little final details, little things that might make him look a little bit better. Actually, I may switch. Let me see if I like the Derwent Light Fast, because that's going to be my most opaque besides the Derwent Drawing. The Derwent Light Fast is, those are the pencils I want, super opaque. Even more than my Caradosh Luminance in most situations. Yeah, look how bright that is. So I can take a few of these little hairs that I really want to stand out. And his little feet are just pretty out of focus. We don't want to put too much there, but we'll define a little bit of highlights. So they're not totally flat little nubs. Okay, and we need some whiskers and some definite highlights on the eye. That's not really sticking well though, because I burnished early on. There we go, that one stuck well. And let's get those whiskers. I'm gonna do the whiskers with my Derwent drawing, or my words are so hard, with my Faber-Castell Polychromos, because that one I can sharpen to such a fine point and push hard. Heather asked if I'm streaming next week. I don't know. I was considering maybe taking next week off and working on a video, but would I actually work on the video? Let me know if you guys want me to stream next week or not. Make sure these whiskers curve. Do not put a bunch of straight lines. It looks really weird. These aren't whiskers. These are just longer fur, parts of his longer floof. And we're back to whiskers. I know at this point he's basically done. I just want to sit and focus on, like, does anything need to be a little bit darker, a little bit lighter? I can go over the lighter areas for sure with my my Derwent Light Fast, because those are going to be really light, and I'm pushing really hard for this. I'm definitely burnishing where I want this to stand out more now. I'm going to hold that pencil to this side, which I normally don't do because it gives you that grainy, gritty look, but for this it works. And I don't know if you can see me do that as I'm working, but I'm constantly squinting at it. What I do when I squint, it makes me see, I don't see detail, I see the lights and the darks. And it makes it very easy to tell, are my lights light enough, my darks dark enough? Is it standing out where I want it to? And it makes it, like, I can really easily see then, like, okay, this is an area that it can be a little bit lighter. Is a floofy mouse. Okay, I think he's about done. So before I sign it though, what I want to do is take my mat and hold it up to the artwork so I know where to sign it, because most of that gets cut off right about there. And I could probably sign it with the gray. Nope, gray does not show up. There we go. Now see how important it was that I held the mat up there, because you naturally would want to sign at the bottom. The mat would have completely chopped that off, so you need to make sure you know exactly where that would be matted. But there is the finished little mousy guy. And I think that actually looks pretty clear, pretty accurate on this camera, which I know is unusual, but just in case, I'll show you over here too. It's a little darker over here. There's a finished mouse. Again, you can bid on him. The link is in the video description if you are interested in owning this little guy. Oh, he's cute. I wouldn't hate him being on my wall. And by that, I mean, if he doesn't sell with the teal, he probably is going to end up on my wall. Okay. Oh, my lid of my tea just came off. That could have been a nightmare. Not that big of a nightmare. That's why I have tile floors. I'm very clumsy. Okay. Let's go and see. Nick is dealing with crazy weather. I think those of you in chat know this, and absolutely crazy weather. So we're going to see if he was able to get those. He's posting, so I think we'll have our questions come through here pretty soon here. Therapy Art for You said, you do make this look easy. Your confidence is awesome. Thank you. It's just experience. You do it long enough and it gets, yes. But thank you. Marie said, Lisa, please talk about lights, dark when coloring on black paper. I've done a couple now, and I thought I had the contrast right, but framing it, they are so dark. Yeah, I mean, when you're working on dark paper, it's never going to be as bright as it would on light paper. So like if I'm doing something where I want it super accurate, I really want it to be like just like the photo, I'm always going to choose my brightest white paper because it's going to give you the most pure colors when it comes to colored pencil. Colored pencils, even though opaque ones, are fairly translucent. So in order to get that pure color, it would have to be on white paper. This is why you have like Lux Archival. Their big thing is they are like the white, not only are they the only true white or true archival sanded paper, they're also the only really, really white one. So you get the most pure colors. Although with sanded paper, colors go on in a way that they come out more pure anyway. But yeah, if you want something to be a true pure color, you want to be on a lighter background. There's no way. If you're working on black paper, it is never going to be as bright as what that original photo was or what the original color was. It's just not possible. You would have to paint it white and then put it on top, which has its own set of problems where that isn't the best way to go. So yeah, I mean, there's no way. It's always going to not be as bright. You will never get it as bright as you can on white paper. So that's just the nature of working on the colored paper. But that doesn't mean you can't create amazing art with. I mean, this was dark gray paper and I didn't, my colors are fine. Everything's good enough. Just make sure your darks are really, really dark so that your brights feel brighter when working on dark paper. You have to watch for that. And you also want to be aware, a lot of times I see people post photos of their artwork and it does not look like that in person because maybe they're not editing it that much. It's just that that's what the camera is picking up. The camera is automatically making it higher contrast than what it really is. But I think that can be a bit deceiving. And so some people get a little bit frustrated when they look at their artwork and they're like, my brights aren't as bright as theirs. Well, theirs probably aren't that bright either because like I said, it's not even possible. Like I cannot make white as white on black paper as I can on white paper. I mean, it's never going to happen. That doesn't mean you can't make something amazing and it will look white to the eye because of the contrast, but that's just the nature of it. Okay, let's see. How the heck Nick managed to do this with his weather situation, I do not know. But dear God, am I grateful. Let's see. So these are a little bit different because he's working on his iPad, so I don't have the full names and stuff. So he said he had to abridge them. So well, close enough. I'm good with that. Let's see. Therapy Art said, for this piece, what did you use to make the outline? So I drew it out. That's actually a really good question. Let's pull this up. Oh, wrong camera. I drew this out on a piece of tracing. You can see that? Drew it out on a piece of tracing paper, and then I taped it to my art. And then I used transfer paper with a stylus. You just slide that under and use the transfer paper. I used white transfer paper to get my line drawing and so that it's nice and clean. If you're working on a lighter weight paper like a watercolor, like up to 140 pound. When you get into 300 pound, it doesn't work as well. But a lighter watercolor paper, sometimes I'll just tape that to my computer monitor and trace my drawing that way. And that you can do whether you drew it yourself. I often draw on my Wacom tablet and use that to use a projector or whatever, or you can use it to trace, whichever method works for you. But yeah, that is how I get those clean lines. So I'm not doing a bunch of erasing, because if you do a lot of erasing, especially Inktense, because of the way that paper is, you do a lot of erasing, you're going to mess up that paper pretty decently. So it's better if you have nice clean line drawings where you're not doing a bunch of erasing, and do that on another piece of paper. So if you know, if you're like, let's say you prefer freehanding everything, totally fine, up to you. Freehanded on a scratch piece of paper, not tracing paper, because tracing paper, when it erases, you know what happens when you try to erase on transfer or tracing paper. It's like wrinkled. It's a nightmare. But draw it on like your scratch paper where you did all your erasing, then trace it with your tracing paper and use that to transfer it cleanly with transfer paper, just white transfer paper in this case, onto your work. And that just keeps your paper in healthy condition, which means your artwork comes out looking better. Okay. Oh, we've got a bid for auction. Oh, the mouse is already getting a house. Oh, the mouse is getting a house. Isn't that a Disney thing? Yay. Let's see. What was I looking for? Here we go. What is that tool that I'm using? Because I'm answering it now, I have no idea. Soft tools. I'm going to go ahead and guess that what you saw were the soft tools. So these guys, oh, I don't have the right camera on. These guys, the soft tools are linked in the video description. Python said, your thoughts on using oil on gessoed paper? Absolutely. As long as it's gessoed, nothing wrong with that. Now, if I'm going to do a finished painting, I'm not going to do that. I want it on canvas. I think that the longevity of canvas is just a lot longer than paper. Paper is, I mean, even when it's acid-free, it's just not the same as what a canvas holds up to, because paper will start getting brittle over time. I mean, it takes a lot of time, but still, I personally would prefer on a canvas, but let's say I'm doing something for practice, or I'm going to do a quick demonstration. There's nothing wrong with it. Or a sketchbook. Like, you just want to keep a sketchbook of oil paintings. That, as long as it's gessoed, totally fine. Works really well. Do the dogs like belly rubs? Oh, dear God, yes. So much. Gibson's favorite are butt scratches, though. He like walks up to Matt because he knows he can always get Matt to scratch. It messes up my nails, so I don't scratch. Unless I don't have nail polish on, I typically don't do it for him. But he walks up to Matt, backs up, and looks over his shoulder like, why aren't you scratching that? You're supposed to be scratching that butt. Ms. Fairywood said, thanks for the great lesson. Thank you for joining. Cat's Art Pig said, is there a way to have online art suppliers send to a center so that I can pick up the merch that I order online? I don't work at any of those places, so I would not be the person to ask. Contact those businesses and ask them what they can do for you. I recommend a P.O. box. Moss Fairywood said, Winsor & Newton Professional Watercolors. Some colors have ASTM ratings, some have permanent stated to be light fast as well. Can I use only permanent colors? I'm not sure on that because I've not used their watercolors and I don't know what the difference is, what they're talking about. I would contact Winsor & Newton directly. Now, here's the good thing. If you're dealing with a reputable company, Winsor & Newton is definitely one of them. Faber-Castell, Faber-Castell, Caran-d'Ache, like any of these companies, you can reach out directly to them with these questions. And if it's a good company, they're going to answer that question. And they're going to give you a better answer than I am, because I would be making that up right now because I really don't know. Just because I don't use that material, so I haven't researched that one. But no, contact the companies. Like anything. If you get a product and you're like, this is not working the way I think it should, or is this wrong? My pencils came broken. Contact the company. They'll usually replace that for you, or they'll answer any of those questions. But just go to the do a Google search, go to the company's website and contact them directly. I've contacted Derwent, I've contacted Caran-d'Ache, I've contacted Faber-Castell. Are those the only ones? And I've contacted some cheap Chinese knockoffs, and their answers are hilarious. They are shady. Holy crap. But no, the good companies are going to have good, they'll answer you. The one I contacted, Holbein, you guys remember that nightmare? Holbein, which was a joke of if you're just a customer, Holbein doesn't respect you. If they think you're a YouTuber, you will get totally different treatment. Which says a lot about that company. So yeah, not a fan. But yeah, contact the company and ask them directly. They should be able to let you know, because I don't know what the difference is there. Not this Gamma said, I thought, thoughts on how to lose the fear of messing up an art piece you're working on. Experience and the knowledge that there's nothing you can do to a piece that you can't fix. But then that comes from experience too. That's a big thing for artists to get over. Like, it is not just you who feels that way. Everyone feels like that. And I think the big thing is to go into your art piece, especially early on, make all the mistakes you can. Every single mistake you can make them, and then figure out how to fix it. Do not throw those mistakes away. You need to figure out how to fix it. You rip it up paper, figure out how to fix it. How can you make it so you can finish it? Now, that's one thing where I wouldn't sell something that I ripped, but you can finish a piece. I have paintings that had a hole in it, but I'm like, I really like this painting. I can at least make prints, or I can keep the painting for myself. I'm going to figure out how to fix this hole in a canvas. And again, I can't sell it. I'm not, that's shady, but I can figure out how to fix it and also not put holes in my canvas. Like, well, I stopped buying cheap canvases and stick to Frederick's. Turns out no holes since then. But, picking good material, or picking the good materials will avoid that. But as far as the fear, make every mistake possible. Don't be afraid of making the mistake, because make 100 mistakes. Have your goal be, I want to make 100 mistakes in art in the next year. I want to make a mistake every single day of the year, whatever. I want to make all the mistakes, and I want to figure out how to fix those mistakes. When I started teaching primarily preteens were my initial, like for a few years there, I mainly preteens, I would say, were my students. And before I really started focusing more on adults, because preteens are, well, they can be a fun group, but they can also, like, there were nights I went to bed and all I heard was Lisa, 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 because as soon as you turn around, they wanted help again. And it was like, oh my God, no more. But anyway, that's all besides the point. Because I was constantly fixing their problems, they made every mistake in the book, because that's how you learn, is making these mistakes. But they made so many mistakes, and I'd have to quickly figure out how to fix it for them. I learned so quick, fear gone. I am not afraid of making any mistake, because I know how to fix it. Every single thing now I can fix, and if I don't, I'll figure it out. But I think that's the biggest thing, is go into it with, I need to make 100 mistakes before I get over this. Write them down if you want. Encourage yourself by, here's mistake number whatever, and how, it'd be kind of cool to have a journal of that. Here's a mistake I made, and here's how I fixed it. Or when you do have a mistake, come ask other artists what they did in that situation, and see, if you're like completely stumped, I really don't know how to fix this one, ask other artists. You can come, if you're on one of our on my Patreon, you can come into our Discord and ask us what we would do. There's a lot of artists in there that can answer you, whether it be me or somebody else. We've got our MeWe group, our Facebook group, asking other artists. Now, I will say, depending on what advice you're asking for, make sure that the advice you're taking is from somebody who actually knows what they're talking about, because I have occasionally seen people give bad, like, some advice that could make things worse, but we'll just say that. But for the most part, I mean, that can be helpful. But yeah, go into it wanting to make the mistakes, wanting to figure out how to solve it. I think that is so important, because right now I can be working on a huge project. I mean, just this week I finished a painting. It was for my Secret Santa for a fish for my mom. And he likes a certain kind of beer. So I had the beer, because who asked for that as a Secret Santa gift where I'd have to mail it? That is like, I'm not sending you beer in the mail. That makes no sense. But so I'll send you a painting of beer. But so I made a painting of beer sitting with coral around it. And at one point, the writing on the bottle, because I had to get it done in a single night. This was one of those, like, I don't have a lot of time. It needs to be a quick project. And I rushed the writing. I didn't like how it looked. How do I fix that? I don't like how it looks. I don't want to leave it. What is the solution? In this case, I pulled some coral right over it. It looked great. It actually looked better than it did without it, even without the messed up writing. There was a solution. That was a solution to a problem, because I made that mistake enough times. I know, hide it. So there's always a solution to the problem. You just have to figure out what it is. And you don't figure those things out. You just are constantly afraid. Let me put this another way. When I got started with my red-eye tree frogs, I read a lot about parasites with them, and I was paranoid about what happens if they get parasites. What happens? Well, the thing is, with the red-eyed tree frogs, well, with any frogs, just because the crickets they eat are how they get parasites. They will inevitably get them. They are going to have to be dewormed. When I got into the red-eyed tree frogs, I was so afraid and so worried about what was going to happen when I had to deal with parasites. They're in a big vivarium, and then that would be infected, and I was so worried. I mean, I'm like a professional worrier. I am really good at it. But right off the bat, my frogs came already with parasites. I had to learn really quickly how to deal with it. I have no fear of it anymore because I know how to deal with it. I dealt with it. I know how to fix it. This week, the caulking around my sink needed to be replaced. And I put it off because I don't know how to do it. And you have that fear of, this is something new and I'm afraid to mess it up. What if it doesn't look good? And then you do it and you're like, you feel so good because you're like, I now know the answer to that problem. If it happens, I mean, obviously it'll have to be replaced in the future too, but I know how to do it now. Once you've made a mistake and figured out how to fix it, that fear's gone for that specific mistake. So this is why I say with art, make all the mistakes, make 100 mistakes, make every mistake possible early on, as soon as you can. Even if, like, as somebody who's been perfect and never made a mistake, they're always going to have that fear because they don't know how to fix it. So yes, that is my answer. Make all the mistakes and figure out how to fix them. Okay, let's see. Nadine said, what do you use the saved pencil shavings for? Usually to spill on my floor and make swear words. I'm pretty sure that's their sole purpose. No, I toss them. That's just like it's just where I am right now, so it's just convenient. I don't save them. Sheila said, have you used pan pastels over or with acrylics? Would there be any reason to do so? I can't think of a single case where I think that would be useful. No, that is not a mixed media that I think works well. Some mixed medias are wonderful together. Pan pastel and colored pencil, watercolor and colored pencil. What else is really good together? Airbrushing a background in colored pencil. You know, colored pencil works really well with a lot of things. Acrylics are plastic. Pan pastel is not going to stick on top of that. And then the paper that works best for pan pastels does not work well. Like if I put acrylic on that, that's too much water on this paper. It's not going to play nicely. Like it's not, I don't even see, like, if I do a mixed media, it's to make my life easier. In the case with this little mouse, I wanted to make the background go faster and to get that super soft blending, so pan pastels are superior there. I wanted fine detail, colored pencils are superior there, so that's why I mixed the two. For me, it's not about mixing them because I wanted to do something weird. It's because these two things mixed together like make my life easier. And I don't see where mixing acrylics and pan pastels would in any way benefit me. Because even if you're like, okay, well, my acrylic paintings were kind of streaky and I didn't get them smooth and I could smooth it out with pan pastels. Yeah, but it's not going to stick long term to the acrylics because it's acrylic. So it's not archival. Some people might put highlights with acrylic on top of the pan pastels. I don't know if that's archival or not because I'm not sure what all the ingredients are with pan pastels. But even if you do that, like, your colored pencils are safer. Let's see. Cat's Art Pick said, will polychromos work over pan pastels without Spectrafix? They will, but it's more blendy. Like you would get a softer blend. It's not, it'll kind of mix in with the pan pastels more. Dorothy said, I got pan pastels, but one was broken. Any way to fix it? Yes, contact, if it came broken, contact, if you ordered it from Blick, contact them. If you ordered it directly from pan pastels, I don't know if you can order directly from them, but contact the manufacturer or contact Blick and they should send you a replacement. Heather, okay, I answered that one. Marie said, I answered that one. What type of tape am I using? It is a pH neutral tape from Amazon. I believe the link is in the video description if I did my job right. I may not have though. What kind of transfer paper? I don't have the label on this. I think the link is in the description for that as well though. Heather B said, I have a very dirty oil on canvas. How do I clean it? What is it dirty with and what is it varnished with? So I don't want to give you bad advice. If it's varnished decent, water. Basically water is how I clean everything. I would look up videos because I've never had to do this, so I'm not an expert on this, but let's say I was in that situation and I needed to restore a really dirty oil, I would look up videos on how to do that because I've never had to, besides just water is all I've ever used to clean my paintings. Stephanie said, any tips on getting smooth monochrome skin tones? Mine are blotchy. In what medium? It would depend on the medium. Lydia said, what do you look for when choosing a good canvas? Fredericks. Always Fredericks. Oh, you can't find Fredericks where you are. I'm not sure then. I have only used Fredericks for so long. I've not tried a lot of other ones. It's one of those, why rock the boat. I don't know what a saying would be good there, but it already, like, I've had too many issues with other canvases, so I don't know what would be good. I can tell you firsthand, Blick is terrible. Generic from Hobby Lobby and Michaels are terrible. I'm trying to think of other name brands I used I didn't like. Aaron Brothers is no longer in business. Theirs were terrible. God, the warping. One of the biggest problems I've had with a lot of these canvases are warped stretcher bars or easily putting holes in them. Like it's horrible. So yeah, no on that. And I don't know though, because I've only used Frederick's since around 2012, 2011. I think I had like, that's the last straw. I'm not using anything else. So I can't really say besides that. Yeah, I'm not helpful. I'm sorry. Whoops. Thickness, stretcher bars, what properties? Okay, what to look for. Okay, that. What I typically will do is take a canvas and set it on the floor. If I'm shopping in a store, set that canvas on the floor, and if it's wobbling like this, that canvas is no good. That is not, the stretcher bars are already warped. It's only going to get worse with time as that keeps pulling on them. Now, if you have a canvas and the stretcher bars did warp, when you put it in a frame, like you properly frame that in an open, a big heavy duty like wood frame, that's going to help it not continue to warp. So it's not like toss it or anything like that, or you could restretch it over other stretcher bars. So there's that. The other thing would be if they're stapled on the edges and the staple is going through the canvas, like I don't have any here, but I've had where staples went right through, like there's a hole through the canvas where the staple just right through, because those canvas, that tells you one thing. One, it's bad because that staple is no longer holding the canvas there. There's an actual hole on the edge. And yeah, when it's framed, you won't see it. And I'm talking about the ones that are not gallery wrap, but stapled on the edges. But that also tells you that canvas is super weak and it's going to be easy to get a hole in it. The staple just did it. Like Frederick's, you put staples, you staple your Frederick's canvases, like let's say you stretch your own. Holes aren't going through that canvas. Like it's just such a flimsy, cheap, and this is just so common with a lot of the different brands where they've cheaped out on that. So those are the two things that I look for there. And then in my case, I also want a very smooth canvas, but if I do use a rough canvas, I just put a few coats of gesso. I use Liquitex gesso and sand that so that it's smooth. I even do that with Frederick's if I get ones, because I have some canvases from them that I love the shape on, but they had too much tooth, like they're too bumpy. So not great for smooth blending or fine detail. I just put the gesso on it, and that way I can still use that. That canvas is good. There's nothing wrong with canvas. It just isn't gessoed how I want. So that's what I do there. But yeah, that's what I look for. Okay, I think I can pick it over here. Oh my gosh, it is only 9:13. We got through that mouse quick. Bring in the questions. Let's see. Python said, I'm a professional worrier too. You know, it's kind of funny. So side story while questions come in. When I first started with orchids, I worried so much, what happens if this one dies? Oh my gosh, like I would worry about an orchid so much. This is while I was learning how to do them. Turns out the best thing you can do for an orchid is ignore it. But they bloom all the time now. But I would worry so much, like that I wasn't doing something right, like it's just everything. And then fast forward, 12 years or whatever, I get back into reef keeping again, and I was always worried about the fish. Is there this disease? Is this happening? Is that happening? Is that coral okay? What are my parameters? I was worried about everything. And then I start thinking, well, maybe I just don't have the right, like maybe I'm too much of a worrier to really enjoy a reef tank. And it clicked. I'm like, dude, you worried about orchids. What difference does it make? No matter what hobby I am currently interested in, I am going to worry about it. So then I realized, yeah, no, it doesn't matter if it's fish or if it's orchids or whatever. I'm going to find a way to worry about it. So it doesn't even matter. Just enjoy it as much as I can. I have learned to not worry as much about the fish. So that's good. That's improved. But part of that, it kind of goes back to what we were talking about. Learning how to fix mistakes. So let's say I got a fish that was sick. I know how to fix them now, so I'm not as stressed. Well, once they're in my reef, I can't get them back out because that's a whole other thing. But I mean, for the most part, I know what precautions to take. I know how to avoid a lot of stuff. You learn stuff and you don't worry as much. And that's same with art. The more you know, the more you learn, the more mistakes. I went through so many issues with parasites with those fish that now it's not like I'm not nearly as paranoid. Now, I take better precautions because I've learned, but also I know how to fix stuff in a way I didn't before, so it's not as stressful as it was. And it's the same with art. The more like experience all the bad stuff, experience the screw ups and the messing up, so that when that happens, you know how to fix it and you enjoy the process more. Like I enjoy painting, I think, much more than someone who's always perfect because I know how to fix it. I'm not stressed about any of it. I used to tell my students when I would teach it for years ago, I taught at one of those, sip wine while you, well, some people didn't just sip, but sip wine while you paint classes. And I used to tell them, like, not that it was a challenge, because some did take it as a challenge. Don't be afraid. There's nothing you can do to that painting I can't fix. Nothing besides put a hole in the canvas. I can fix anything. And so just enjoy yourself and have fun. And when people can get in their head, there's nothing you can't fix, that is helpful. Now, colored pencil gets a little bit more challenging. Watercolor is more challenging. There's certain things that you would have to get creative on how you're going to hide certain mistakes there. Like acrylics, oils, there's nothing you can't fix. So those materials are especially forgiving. Bye, Cat's Art Picks. If you're still here, okay. Scrolling up. Stephanie said, I'm struggling to get smooth look on skins. Okay, this was that question. This is the full one. I'm working on monochromatic portrait and I find it, yeah, I need to know what medium. Python said, those cheap oil paint brands on Amazon are awful. They're almost 95% filler and the pigments are food cosmetic grade. Oh, ouch. Yeah, that's no fun. Here's the thing with oils too. Some oil paints, I talked about this actually in this week's lesson. I don't know if you watched the little owl that I just finished. That certain techniques that I do with layering and glazing does not work with cheap oil paints like Bob Ross. And I know those aren't even cheap, but they're meant for a different technique than what I use. But Bob Ross, Dallin Rowney, like a lot of these lower grade, you glaze over it, it lifts the previous layer, even if it's been dry for 2 weeks. Horrible paint to work with. Absolutely horrible. Let's see. Stephanie is using acrylic paint on canvas. So yeah, with portraits, I'll do portraits for that reason with acrylics. I use it unless I'm doing an airbrush. It's not that it can't be done. I just don't enjoy doing it. Yeah, they kind of come out blotchy. You're going to be using your fine mist sprayer with water and keeping it wet. But yeah, I don't do portraits in acrylics for, not people portraits at all for that reason. That's why oils are what I go with. Oils and colored pencil I'm good with for portraits, but I just don't like, and acrylics is probably my strongest medium and I still don't enjoy doing portraits with them. So yeah, I would say fine mist sprayer and airbrush and keep it wet as you're working when you need to smooth things out. Here's the thing though with portraits, paint fast, but trying to make it too smooth, you end up with a Barbie doll looking like that cheap plasticky skin. So some blotchiness is okay. Glaze over it, and if you do enough glazes, you build up in glazes, it smooths out. Each additional glaze smooths out the previous layer. So if you do that enough, some of those blotchy base layers just give you a very natural look versus that fake plastic, everything's perfectly smooth look too. So, keep that in mind. Probably should do some portraits in acrylics. It's just like, why? Oils are so much easier. That just jumped. Oh, we've got Flyby to the Moon said, Fat Hounds, happy holidays to all. Thank you so much. Do you boys want a super chat? Bad Cow says yes. Gibson's not sure. Were you just too comfy? Come on, Gibson. Thank you so much. This is a good night for you boys, huh? There we go. Oh, look at what a gentle take that was. Very good, Bad Cow. Good boy. Go lay down. Are you going to take it back to your bed? That's very smart. Gibson's taking his back to his bed to eat it. So I'll crunch it over here so I'm allowed to lick it up since you won't let me lick the floor. Okay, go lay down, Cal. Wait, lay down. Thank you so much. Okay, there's the mouse you still have an opportunity to bid on. He will not get to you by Christmas because I just shipped some stuff out on Monday and it isn't getting there till Friday and Saturday of this week. And that was priority. That should be 2 days. So right now, that won't be happening. If you buy it for someone for Christmas, I can give you something to print out that you can give them the envelope and tell them that that's what they're getting. Let's see. Just let me know. Let's see. Python said, I only use Gamblin oil paints. They're good. I like Gamblin. I started with the affordable 1980 line and the new tubes I buy are all Gamble as an artist color. The 1980s line is absolutely amazing, though. I don't know if I've used those ones. Can you do an in-depth video on an airbrush? I have several that I haven't used very often. I actually have one. It's an intro to airbrushing. I probably could do an updated one, but there is one here on YouTube. It was roses. I think I did touch-ups with colored pencil because I never use it for anything by itself, but yeah. Oh, we've got another one. Let's see. CSM Steph said, love the powder blender videos. Oh, I need to make more of those. Do you boys want another super chat? Did you see Wade's head pop up? Like, oh my gosh, are you serious? I know, it's so exciting. Oh, notifications are coming in. I'm picking out the bigger pieces for you. Super chat means the big pieces. There you go. Be gentle, Cal. That was pretty good. I can't complain about that one. Wait, you're not going to take it to the bed this time, Gibson? Seriously? Okay, go back to your crate. Wrong thing. Lay down. Beds. Go lay down, Gibson. Lay down. You're just going to stand there and lick the floor. Gibson, lay down. Someone's not listening. Let's see. Oh my gosh, I just noticed too. Holy crap. CMS Steph, I didn't even notice the amount of that super chat. I misread that. Wow, thank you. Those boys are getting some big super chats. Oh, I didn't say it, Gibson. Lay down. Thank you so much. Seriously. Lay down. Lay down. Gibson. Brat. Okay. Let's see. Wow, I'm like all excited. Can I demonstrate how to sketch? That's like asking somebody, can you tell me how to rebuild an engine? Like, I'm gonna need some more from you there. That, like, you gotta be a bit more specific. And you guys with the, I can't say the super word, no one picked up on that. You know what's funny? These boys, when I start setting up the live stream, they start bugging me. They want their beds put in here right away and they want to lay down. I had one bed in here earlier and Gibson was so upset because Wade was in it and Gibson wanted his bed in here too. We were talking 2 hours before the live stream started. They are ready. They love live stream night. Python said, whoops, I didn't finish the question. I hit send too early. Okay, that makes more sense because I'm like, that doesn't sound, I mean, I've had people ask me stuff like that. Can you tell me how to draw a cat? But you don't usually ask questions like that, so that makes more sense now. Ken O'Bean said, hey, love your videos. Thank you. We've got time. We've got a lot of time. If you guys need a demonstration on something like specific, I can do that probably, maybe. Just let me know. Joseph said, that's like making a viral video when what makes a viral video is that it did it for no reason, right? What is my favorite TV show? I actually don't watch TV. I'm more a book person. Oh my gosh, book. I have a recommendation. Crap, I didn't pull it up on this. I'm so obsessed with these right now. Hold on. If you have Kindle Unlimited too, they're included. This Cam Shea, who, interestingly enough, she's got a whole book. These are fun. These are your more lighthearted, like there's no swear words, there's no adult scenes, they're little love stories with like fae or elves or whatever, and I love them. Like there's one of her series, it's a trilogy. I was so hooked, I couldn't put it down, and now I've been rereading it. It's been a couple months, so I'm reading it again. I'm back to I can't put it down, and I'm like, I already know what happens. Why can't I put this down? I don't know what it is about this story I love so much. But Magiford, Supernatural City, The King's Shadow is the first one in this trilogy. Now it's K.M. Shea, S-H-E-A. And again, if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can just go download it. She's got a series. She's got multiples within that. Here, I'll link you guys. Multiples within... Copy link address. Hold on. There we go. Multiples within this story, like, or that world. So she has one that's like a vampire and a wizard story. One that's a, I think it's too long. I don't think I can send it. You guys are just going to have to look it up. Yeah, it's too long. Too long. Cannot send. But anyway, she's got a whole bunch of different like parts of this one city, like different characters and whatever. And the wizard and vampire one was great. The fae one was great. If you like, you know, your fantasy type, lighthearted stuff, like you can listen to it in the room with your kids and you're not like, it's not inappropriate at all. It's totally safe. And then she had a werewolf one. I don't think she wrote it. I think an underling who didn't read her previous books did. It was so horrible and I just wanted it to be done. Like, oh my God, it was bad. So that one you can skip and you don't miss anything if you skip that one altogether. So that was definitely not a good one. The name for the book again, it is by K.M. Shea, K-M-S-H-E-A. And the first one, and I read it out of order. I read this series and then went back and read the other ones. And I don't feel like you missed that much. Like a couple of characters pop up in this book that were from previous books, which is fun, that little bit of a crossover, like one scene. But you don't feel like you're missing anything. It just makes you want to go back and read those other ones after. You can do it out of order. This one, though, is my favorite. So The King's Captive, Magiford, M-A-G-I-F-O-R-D, Supernatural City. Gate of Myth and Power, book 1. So there's 3. Oh my God, I freaking love it. I'll give you the general idea. If you know, it's for those who like the fantasy stuff. It's paced in a way that I couldn't put it down, which does not happen to me often. Like I just obsessively cannot stop reading this because I want to find out what happens. The girl, she turns into a cat back and forth, like kind of like a shifter, but she's not actually would be considered that. And she ends up in a king's, like, she's trying to hide herself and basically pretending to be a pet because she doesn't want him. She's afraid he's going to kill her. It is just, it's cute. It's good. There's a trash griffin who is named French Fry. My next bird I am naming French Fry after the trash griffin. It's back end of the body is a raccoon, front end is a pigeon, and it's hilarious. And like, there's just so much about these books that have, you like the characters. The characters are so lovable, but it's very lighthearted. Like it's not, you don't have to think a lot about it. It's just, it's good. And I absolutely love those. So that one's not on Audible yet though. Her other books are, so I can't wait till this one is because I'll just listen to it over and over again. But yeah, it is so, I love it. I like can't wait. As soon as this live stream's over and I clean everything up, I'm going back to reading my book. Even though I've already read it, I can't put it down again. And it's just, again, so lighthearted. And I love that. Well, I say lighthearted. I mean, there's scary scenes and whatever, but not scary, but yeah. Anyway, so that is, yeah, I'm more of a book person than a TV. Like, we don't have cable internet, like, or cable. We have Netflix and stuff, but yeah, that is, books are my thing. Other books I really like, the Dragonian series, but only if you listen to it on Audible. Dragonian series is, shoot, who is that? I can't think of her name off the top of my head, but this author cannot, she needs an editor. I don't know how she doesn't have an editor. In the audio, the narrators are great, or, you know, good enough. The writing though, the typos, I have never seen so many typos in a book get published. And there are other ones, they just keep getting worse. I had to stop. I can't read any of hers. If it's not on Audible, I don't bother with hers anymore. I mean, you're talking major typos to where it's so distracting because you have to stop and go, wait, what word does she mean? Because I don't think, oh, that it's not even the same word at all. I mean, it's bad. Typos, spelling, typos, grammar issues, like the list goes on, and I'm talking 10 per page on some of these. It gets so bad. The Dragonian series is not as bad, but she has like offshoots of that where she does like, well, what if it happened this way instead? Oh my God. But anyway, that's a really good series. I really enjoyed that if you like the fantasy stuff. I like the growth of the characters was great. That one was really good. Who else? I'm trying to think of some of the others, but those are like the ones that I'm next going to be listening to. Or re-listening to, I should say. Okay. Clark Fenner said, I have a bunch of credits for audiobooks. Are there any you would definitely recommend? Crap. Hold on. Thanks for helping, Nick. Nick's off. He's having all kinds of issues over there. Thank you so much for helping tonight if you're still here. Here, I'll pull up my Kindle. I know this is boring some of you guys. I'm sorry. Bone and Daughter of Smoke and Ash. Daughter of Smoke and Bone. Daughter of something. This is my, like, it's good for everybody. Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Lainey Taylor. Oh my God, best narrator in the world, because it's Christine Vam, who is the best narrator of all narrators. The book is amazing. It's beautiful. It's, you know, your fantasies, the fantasy stuff I like. So good. Like, definitely check that one out. That's like my top recommendation of all books. Let's see. What grit sandpaper to use after gesso on canvas? I use about anywhere between like the 200 and 300s. Any of those are fine. Once I used a 1200 grit. Yeah, that made it way too smooth. That was an interesting thing. It was like painting on glass. But yeah, and in the 200 and 300s, you're fine. Brittany said, I need to read my books instead of listening to audiobooks since this is how I learn best. Yeah, everyone's a little bit different on that. I do both. I'm fine either way. I listen to audio because I can do it while I'm working. So like I've almost always got ear plugs in my ears or ear whatever. Art of Raven D said, my sister told me the time she listened to audiobooks while driving, out of nowhere, there would be a spicy scene while it's being blasted from her car speakers in her face. Scrunched. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I've had some books where I don't enjoy the spicy scenes, like spicy adult scenes are not my thing. Super prude over here. I mean, if a book has it, I'll still read it. I just skip through those because I just don't enjoy it. So, again, super prude. So I just skip over that. But there were times where I was walking and I couldn't get my phone. Like I forget how I had my phone set up, but I was walking the dogs and I couldn't easily get to it. And I'm like stuck listening to this and I'm like, make it stop. But yeah, I listen to headphones. So I haven't had that embarrassing, like someone is going to walk in and be like, what are you listening to? Yeah, some of those scenes on some of those audiobooks are, whew. Fly Me to the Moon said, try out Stephen Lawhead's Bright Empire series. First book is the skin map. I'm writing that down. Actually, I am going to take a photo of what that is. It's not focusing. Okay, good enough. I should be able to look it up from that. Let's see. Wasn't that made into a series on Netflix? No, there was another one that was like both. That's why I get them mixed up, because the Lainey Taylor one is Daughter of Smoke and Bone or Daughter of Smoke and Ash. Another one was like Shadow and Bone or something in Bone. Something. They're not the same. They're both great books. Great books. Both. I actually like the other one too. I forget the author of the other series. But yeah, one of them was a Netflix one, and I loved the Netflix adaptation. It started off really close to the book. It ended up kind of they mixed a different like offshoot that happened later with that. So they were mixing the characters, but I really, I enjoyed both the books and the Netflix version were great. Let's see. Python said, I think it was you who's telling the story of that one book you read where the artist was painting with oils and it splattered all over them. Yeah, that was one of those cheesy. It was an older lady who writes these books. She's been writing them forever. Like if I remembered the name, everyone would recognize it. But she definitely writes about situations she knows nothing about. And you can tell when and we hear stuff like that all the time, the stupid people making an artist, but they are not artists. So like they don't describe things correctly. But yeah, that one, she was painting and she didn't even know what she was painting. Somebody spooked her and she dropped the brush and oil paint. She was working in oils and it splattered all over the place from the brush. I don't care how much you thin down your oil paints, it's not going to splatter, like, unless it's almost all paint thinner. But yeah, that was kind of, Fly Me to the Moon said, I skipped 2. Oh, good, I'm not the only prude. Let's see, Python said, I love 1984, best book I've read. Scary how accurate it is today. I want to read Fahrenheit 451 next. I would need to read that too. I was just talking to my mom about that. I read 1984 like this last year. I hadn't read it since I was a kid, and there is an audio version of it. Yeah, that is scary how accurate that is, because you listen to it when you're a kid and you're like, that would never happen. And then now you're looking around going, oh my God, people, like, that's a thing. So yes, Fahrenheit 451, I don't remember a lot of as a kid. I actually remember watching the movie in school more than, I know we read the book. I don't remember it well, so I'm going to have to get that one too. I'm curious if I will like it more now as an adult than I did as a kid when I didn't really understand like why would this be relevant to anything? But yeah, mostly I really like fantasy stuff, like fairies, dragons, that sort of thing. Yeah, those are my nerd book things. God, guys, we have 25 minutes. Do you need a demonstration on something? What do you need? What can I help you with right now? Or I can just go read my book, because I'm okay with that too. Let's see. And Clark Finer, message me, because I have way more books too I could probably recommend to you. I was just talking to my friend about that, another artist friend, and she was giving me, we're trading books to listen to. So I just bought it. I downloaded it. I just haven't read it yet because I'm finishing up my current read. Let's see. Nora Roberts. I'm pretty sure that's the name of the I dropped a paintbrush and it splattered lady. I think it was her. Wait, is it her or was another one like that with a name? Yeah, I don't read stuff from, like, it's been a long time, but the few books I read of hers, I'm like, her writing style just doesn't work for me. Like, I felt like, was it her that was writing like about a young girl? She's like in her 20s, supposed to be this cute girl, and she's wearing a smart pantsuit. And I'm like, lady, this is not the 1950s. We don't wear smart pantsuits. Like, it doesn't work. Like, the language was just not working for me the way things were described. But like the concept of the story I liked, but the execution from her, I just couldn't do it. So yeah, she's not one for me. Noctis Gamma said, how do you handle creative blocks? That is actually a good question. So like right now, I wouldn't call it a block, but I'm working on, I want to do a surreal painting. I don't have a definite idea on the next big surreal painting I'm going to do. So what I do is pick out elements of things that I enjoy. I want to do something with either orcas or humpback whales. I also want to paint a forest. And I like nighttime scenes. I really like twilight. I like campfire. I mean, I like the movies too because I'm a dork. But I like the twilight lighting where it's like that purpley blue, that color. I like campfire, like the glow of a campfire would be cool, or some kind of glow of lighting. So what I'm doing, basically, you can say I have artist block because I don't know for sure what I want to do. I start picking out things like that. I like this element. I like that element. I can write all these elements down that I like, and now I have an assignment. Here are a bunch of things that I like. I like the whale. I like surrealism. I like a forest. I like these specific colors. Now my assignment is like a personal assignment. Make it work. Put all those elements together. So I know there will be a whale swimming through the forest. Will it be an open like field, or will it be Wade, stop. Wade, no chewing on your chest. Wade's itchy. We have to stop him because he'll actually scratch himself raw. I know. Wade. He just keeps doing it. He's completely ignoring me. He's looking like, and I'm going to keep doing it because you're live streaming. You won't yell. I will yell. Look at him. Look at me. But will you though? Will you really? Brat. Anyway, if it keeps you from scratching your chest open, all y'all, that's for sure. Anyway, where was I going with the creative? Okay, so yeah, you find different elements of things and you give yourself an assignment. If you can think, another thing you can do, you can make a list of stuff. Actually, I think ChatGPT is easier now. I used to just make a list of stuff and pick from like a list. I'd say like tear off pieces of paper of different elements, a fork, a curtain, a mouse, a leaf, a plant, a specific type of whatever, a whole list of things, and pull 3 elements out and make something that works with that. The point is you need to do something, do anything. We have a tendency to hit a point where we're like, everything that we need to do, every piece of art we need to do needs to be our next biggest, greatest creation, and that is not how art works. You're going to have times where you need filler pieces. My mouse could be considered a filler piece. It's not one of my big projects. It's a quick, fun thing. I got art done tonight, even if I didn't know for sure what like creative, bigger piece I wanted to work on. You can do that. You can work in a sketchbook. The point is you need to work on something. You need to constantly be working. That is when your best ideas are going to hit. They're not going to hit while you're watching TV. They're going to hit while you're thinking about art, while you're doing art. Does that mean you're sitting there drawing an apple and then you're like, hey, what can I add to this apple? Maybe it has a butterfly on it. Maybe it has a snake going around it. Like it gets those creative juices going, and that is when your best ideas will happen. But also, like I said, you can just come down, ChatGPT. I like this because you can go to that and say, write down 10 elements, 10 subjects, whatever, 10 things. And take from that. You can take from those things to give yourself some ideas. You could go to Pixabay or Unsplash. Those are free reference photos, and pick out a few different things. I would say pick out like 2, 3 photos, figure out how to combine them. Or you can just pick one of them and draw it just to draw something. But when you want to be like creative and you want to do something unique, if you can combine multiple things into one unique thing, that is going to I think, be your best bet. So the big thing is, when you have those moments of creative block, don't sit there waiting for them to go away, because they won't. I mean, it's kind of like, let's say you go to the gym all the time. Anything that you do on a regular basis, going on a walk, whatever. When you break the habit of doing that regularly, you break the habit. You just stop going. It is so hard to get back into it. And art is the same way. When you break the habit of constantly, drawing something, constantly coming up with ideas, and you start going, oh, I don't have any ideas. I have artist block. I'm just going to go sit and watch TV. I'm going to go play a video game. You will never get ideas when you're doing those things. With the exception, maybe you see a scene in a movie and you're like, oh, those colors would look cool with a painting. Maybe. But you have to go draw. You have to be drawing. You could be sitting there drawing while watching TV if you want. I'm okay with that too. But you need to be creating art in order to come up with ideas for art, because it is not going to happen. The longer you're away from painting and drawing because you have artist block, the harder it's going to be for you to get back into it. So just pick up a pencil, start sketching, start doodling, anything. Writing down elements of things you love, your 3 favorite things. We had that as a recent Patreon, one of our group challenges, was do something with your 3 favorite elements. Or here, let's say right now, you are right now completely stuck. I want you to draw a zebra, and I want you to add something to it. So a zebra and, what is it? Be creative. Could be a fork, could be a plate, could be a mouse, could be a zebra, and go draw that right now. It can be a loose sketch. This is how you get over artist block, though. You go do it. You don't sit and wait for inspiration to hit you, because inspiration is going to find you working. Creativity, going to find you working. It is not going to find you watching TV or playing video games, speaking from experience. And we also had another from Tessa, thinks that the boys need another treat. You guys want a super chat? Thank you, Tessa. You guys are so spoiled tonight. No, don't drool. You're too close, because you start drooling when you're that close, and I'm holding treats if I'm not fast enough. I got slobbered all over. Good, boys. Very gentle. That was very nice, cow. That's lots of crunching. Thank you so much. Okay, boys. Go lay down. Lay down. Go to your beds. Lay down. Lay down. Off you go. Gibson. All the way. Gibson, lay down. You can't make me do what I want. Slowest race dogs ever. Okay. Let's see. Clark Finder said, I've used ChatGPT for that. List 4 ideas for watercolor paintings. Wait, is that AI art? It is not AI art. But yeah, something like that for ideas. It's great. It just keeps you working. Let's see. Mona Lisa is sad. Pratchett wrote, Discworld's supposed to be really good. I have it and need to read it. I've not heard of that one. Let's see. Sacre Blue, I just butchered that and I apologize, said, this has been food for my soul being here. Thank you, night all. Aw, thanks for joining us. That just jumped. Let's see. Ellen said, when you combine reference photos, do you ever make a value study first? I don't. I could see where it would be beneficial, but I never do. I never do that. Usually, though, I do Photoshop. I Photoshop everything together so I get an idea of what it would look like anyway. But no. Zebra and a cowboy hat. That would work. Python said, I want to paint a surreal ball python over the holidays. Do you have any tips on making a good composition? Photoshop or some photo editor, whatever photo editor you're using. Now, the way that I used to do this before the days of Photoshop is I would do a sketchbook and sketch things out. You can even draw them and cut out like a snake, cut out an apple, cut out whatever, and kind of reposition them. that can be kind of time consuming. But you know, loose sketches if you can't Photoshop it. But yeah, I Photoshop everything to come up with those ideas, because sometimes what I think is going to look awesome in my head very much does not look awesome on the canvas. I'd rather find that out in Photoshop before I do that. So yeah, I get my idea of what my colors are going to be in that case, and that's how I come up with the design. So yeah, I mean, one tip I have, if you're doing something that's a little bit more surreal, be sure that you're making it very obvious if something is supposed to be surreal. So let's say you want the ball python to be abnormally large. Make sure it is obvious it is abnormally large. Because one of the things that I've seen where people try to make something and they're like, it's surreal, so it's supposed to be a little bit different. But all it really looks like as the viewer is you just didn't, like, it just looks like it wasn't drawn right. It doesn't look intentional. And that's a big thing when it comes to surrealism. It needs to look intentional. If you've got an oversized shoe, it better look really freaking oversized. If you're doing a building and you want like slightly curved, you know, kind of warped buildings, make sure it looks intentional and not just a little bit warped, like you're just not good at drawing straight lines, because I see that a lot. And then you look at it and you're like, was that on purpose or not? You really want it to look on purpose. So when you're talking about scale, when you're whatever it is you're talking about, make sure whatever it is looks intentional and not just, if it's too subtle, it just looks like you kind of messed stuff up. Like it's just not quite right. I've made that mistake myself. I actually, one of my best, like worst paintings, I decided I wanted a painting where there's a city in the background and there's trees, but instead of the trees being like leaves, that they would be clouds. And I wanted it to be a nighttime scene. Could you possibly see where the problem would be here? They just look like crappy trees. Like I had the clouds were raining. I wanted rain coming from those tree cloud things. Yeah, they just looked like, because what is a tree going, what colors would you use in a tree at night? What colors would you use in a cloud at night? The same freaking colors. And the shape of the clouds, there was no making it look, it just looked more like a weird tree. It didn't look like clouds because the color palette I chose, those two things, it was too subtle. It was not obvious enough. Those are clouds. Now that idea could work, but I need to figure out a way to make it more obvious. So what would be solutions in that case? Well, do a daytime scene. Because now you look at it and you expect the leaves of the tree to be green, not blues, and you know, because of the being night. You expect it to be green, but they're clearly white and blue, or white and whatever the color of your clouds are. Make it very obvious. Too subtle with surrealism just looks like you didn't do a very good job. Let's see. Hi, Eddie. Thanks, Suzanne. She said, hi, Lisa. I love the fancy mouse. Thank you. He is still available. Where is he? He's over here. There's the fancy mouse. He's still available. If you want to bid, the link is in the video description if you are in the US. Let's see. She said, can you explain the purpose of gesture drawing, please? I always feel like I'm wasting time unless I'm trying to create a final image. It's not something I do. It's not something I'm into. It's not something I'm really interested in. I've seen people do it. It's kind of cool. I can't really explain it because I don't do it. So I'm not going to be the one to help you on that one. I'm sorry. Yeah, I want to create that final image. I want to create details. That's what I enjoy. So I mean, the gesture, it's just not my thing. Let's see. Raven D said, say if you did a manga comics, gesture drawing practice is a great thing to learn. Yeah, I mean, I understand why people do it. It's just not that's just not what I do. Yes, you did at yourself. We've still got another 11 minutes if you guys have questions or if there's anything I can do to help. And here I thought this mouse was going to take me longer, so I was actually looking for a project that would take a little bit more time, but he got done. It's the Pastels. They're just so fast. They make everything so fast. Let's see. There are 119 of you still here, so somebody's got to have something we can talk about. I'm trying to think if I have any stories. I'm still working on the bearded dragon. I'm actually working on the script and how I want the video to be formed for the bearded dragon, so that's coming. Let's see. Fly Me to the Moon said, what, that, the heart is in the way and I can't see the bottom thing. Hold on. I am typing space because I need that to move. There we go. What's cooking for the next live stream? I don't know. Jude said, when are you doing the puffin and oil pastels? That's actually one of my next projects. That's coming up in one, like oil pastels for sure, and then that was the project, the planned project was the puffin. So that one is actually very, very soon. I've got an acrylic painting I want to work on, and then those are like my two current. I'll probably end up kind of having them both going on at the same time. So yes, that is one of the next ones. What motivates you to be so productive, please? Paying my bills. I really enjoy paying my bills. But besides that, no, I mean, I've always done that. Creating art just makes me happy. Getting work done makes me happy. When I sit around and I watch TV too much or I play video games too much, it's just, I don't feel the same level of happy as when I'm getting work done. But also, in order to get what I need to get done, like for Patreon, for everything, I don't take days off. I take a half day off on Saturday, sometimes a half day on Friday. Well, kind of, because I clean the first half of the day on Friday. Sometimes I'll do Friday night kind of off. But I'm always getting getting work, like it's like an everyday thing. I don't know, it would feel weird not to do that to me. But having a schedule helps to get even more done. So that's definitely a thing. And let me know if there's something for the live streams, ideas you guys have. Let me know for the next ones. I don't have anything planned right now. What's up with that heart thing? I have it too. I can't get rid of it. Yeah, what happens when I click it? 100%. It just makes little things fly up, but it's annoying because it like blocks off part of the text. That is just weird. Karina said I asked a question earlier. Oh. Hold on, I'm scrolling up. If I can't find it, I apologize. By this time of the night, my eyes are kind of blind from looking at this thing. Karina, okay, said, you say you love fantasy books. Would you ever draw a dragon using a lizard anatomy or something like that? Mythological animals. So interested, would love to see what you could do. I'm not going to say I wouldn't do it. I just don't know when I will do it. Like, I like the idea, but I just haven't felt the motivation of like, or the inspiration, like that's what I want to do. Mermaid, I do want to do a mermaid one, but yeah, I don't know when. I'm sure eventually, but I don't have any plans coming up. Oh, we have, thank you so much for the super chat, Hitomi. Oh, hold on. Do they see? They know. You guys want a super chat from Hitomi? She said, red pandas or Paula's cat for next live stream? Ooh, I'll look at reference photos and see if that's something I can do on a live stream. So the problem with the live stream stuff is it has to be something I can get done in about an hour. Although apparently tonight I could have gone like an hour and a half. Gibson, I'm missing a hound. There you go. Good boy. Very nice. Dude, a good cow. Thank you again so much, Hitomi. But Palace Cat, let me take a photo of that though. I'll see if I can. I'll see if I can do that, but that is always, go lay down, boys, go lay down, Gibson. Stubborn hounds, but I'll have to see if there's anything that I feel I could do, maybe a close-up of a red panda. The cat, I don't often see good photos of them. I'll have to check. I can't do a wildlife reference photo type thing because that is where I would normally find a good photo of something that's a little bit more unique. But I can't do that for a live stream, like a paint along thing, because people have to go buy it. Like there are legal issues with doing that. So yeah, I'll have to look into that. Also, this was apparently your 10th super chat on a live stream, so we're supposed to celebrate it according to YouTube. Can I? Oh wait, don't click the wrong thing. I wanted to see if it would do anything. It has a 10. Nope, don't do that. I don't want you in timeout. Stop it. Apparently there's nothing that fancy I can do with that. Oh, I can remove the heart thing in channel settings. I'll have to look into that if I remember. Because I don't know if you guys are enjoying it, but they're annoying. Those little heart things. Blocking the text is not fun. And of course, Dolphin Soul wants a dolphin in Inktense. She said it is the 1 year anniversary of her finding me. That's funny. I mean, we do need some dolphins coming up soon. Pixabay has a few nice polished cat photos. See, and the problem is, if it can be a good photo, but is a photo of something I feel I can get done in an hour. That's always my thing, because sometimes there, a lot of the things that I'll want to do, I'm like, yeah, but there is no way I'm getting that done in an hour. So I'll have to go and look. If you do fantasy, I'd love to see it. You have very vivid imagination, so I'm sure it would be amazing. I definitely want to do some more surreal landscapey things, so that will definitely be coming. You could remove the heart on the fly, but I don't remember how. Yeah, I don't know how to do it either. Right clicking didn't do it. That didn't do it. No, don't block that person. I believe it's the setting when you set up the live stream to remove the hearts. Okay, I'll have to check that out for next time, because yeah, that's definitely, yeah. An orca, yeah. Orcas are possible. I would probably end up using my own reference photos or not my own reference photo, my own art as reference. That's a maybe thing. Okay, so Sheila says the hearts are kind of fun though. If you like them, I can leave them. It's not like that big of a deal. It was just that one time it was blocking what somebody said, so I had to type something to get it out of the way. Python, do you have another large surreal scene coming up? I'd love to see another marine life one. Well, the one that I wanted, the current thing in my idea is a whale. I don't know if it'll be an orca, which it's more of a dolphin, but either an orca or a blue whale. And I want it swimming in like a forest. And I don't know if it's going to be a valley or a forest with like tons of trees around. I haven't decided that, but I know it's going to be something like a landscape mixed with an orca. And I want things growing on the orca's back. These are the ideas in my head currently. Once I start planning this out on Photoshop, it may change completely, but those are the ideas I'm starting with. And so it's going to be one of my next ones that I'm working on. That and the puffins in oil pastel are like my next two. So a walking stick insect in charcoal, I could get that done in time. That's a little too fast. Do you have another? Okay, so that was the surreal one is coming. But yeah, the surreal one, I know it's going to be large because I want a lot of detail on whatever is on the orca's back. And heck, part of me is like, do I need this one in a forest? I want to do, yeah, I've got a few ideas coming up for sure. Python said, I'd love to see some colorful coral. I actually, if you look at the lesson coming up on the next Patreon lesson is the beer bottle, but it's got coral all around it. So that is coming. Let's see, which color pencil are easier with nerve pain? It depends on you specifically. Some people, just the repetitive motion is going to be a problem. Some people, the pressure with the pencils is going to be a problem. So for me, because I have arthritis in my hand, I have since I was a teenager, so it's a lifelong thing for me. This is, I cannot burnish very much where I'm pushing hard. I have to blend with odorless mineral spirits. And the pencils that I find that blend the best with odorless mineral spirits are the higher wax-based content. So I really like I have to do less handwork, like less movement with my Derwent drawing pencils, my Derwent Light Fast pencils, and then the next in line behind that would be Caran d'Ache Luminance. But I think the easiest to get good blending, my Derwent Light Fast are like my go-to for that. If you work with Powder Blender, though, you don't have to push really hard with that. It is repetitive, but that is a little bit easier on my hands. So that could also be an option. It depends on the specific, like what's causing it. Because if yours is repetition, then I would probably say try oil or acrylic painting. That may be a better choice than colored pencils in your case. For me, like right now, my arthritis was bugging me. Like I was having a little bit of a hard time while I was working tonight with the pain. So I will not be doing colored pencil for probably 2 weeks because I just want to give my hand a rest. But that doesn't mean I'm going to give up on art for 2 weeks. That means I'm going to be doing acrylic painting. It means I'm going to be using the soft pastel or the oil pastels. You know, I'll use other mediums so I keep going. But I need to let whatever is causing like why I've got this flare up on my hand right now, I need to let that calm down. But I still want art, so I'll do a different medium in the meantime. So I don't know how helpful that is for you. How about, the heart is in the way. Hold on. I'm just putting a letter. How about a small lizard? So some of them that don't have a lot of scales, maybe. But like a bearded dragon, he has so much detail. And I am going to be doing actually digital painting first. That's one of the things I want to do of him soon. But yeah, probably not on a live stream. There are other lizards though I might be able to. A gecko. I'll look and see what other ones, because there are some that have smoother, like their scales aren't as defined. I could certainly do. So I'll look into that. Dolphin Soul, can you message me to remind me of the lizards? Because I know I'm going to forget. Yeah, a salamander, or not a salamander. I want to do an axolotl. We should definitely do an axolotl at some point if I can find a good one. Let's see. Eddie said, can wrist braces for carpal tunnel syndrome help you with your arthritis, please? Okay, so no, actually, not with arthritis, not with my arthritis anyway. That was with the doctors when I was younger, because they're like, you're young, you know, you're a teenager, you don't have arthritis. Well, mine is a genetic form that starts when you're a teenager, so it's not like a normal one. But anyway, they kept giving me wrist braces for arthritis or for carpal tunnel, and it kept making it worse. And it would feel okay at the time because I wasn't using it. It basically was just like a reminder, hey, don't use your hand right now. The problem was it ended up getting, because I'd wear it, you know, your hand is kept like that in those things. I could only move my hand about like that. Like I lost all range of motion at one point, completely locked it up. And it turned out that's when the doctor's like, oh yeah, that's arthritis. So the best thing I can do is keep moving it. The more I move it, the more I use it, the better it is. The problem with colored pencils is I'm typically adding more pressure, and I'm holding like a tiny little pencil. So it's a little bit of a different, you know, it's different. I'm holding it tighter than I would like a paintbrush I hold very loosely. But yeah, the wrist braces, in my case, the best thing same thing with the arthritis in my back. And my back and my wrist are the worst, and my neck are where the arthritis is worse. So walking is the best. Moving, keeping my hand moving. Wearing a brace or anything that confines me is the worst thing I can do. So like even wearing jeans that are more fitted, like that are tighter around my waist, that starts bugging me because I'm not, you know, I'm not as wiggly with those because they're more stiff. So yeah, that is not fun for me. Python said, what's the choral lesson coming out next week? I don't know what the lesson is. Are you not on my email newsletter? I posted a photo. I can't post it online on social media right now. No, I posted it in the Discord too. But yeah, it's in the photo is in the coming up thing on the email newsletter that went out today. So if you didn't get that email, if you go to my Facebook, the link for the email should be there, and you can click on that and get it. A koalas are harder to do in a live stream. That's a bit more of a challenge. That may be for charcoal I could. And Sheila said, okay, the heart thing, that isn't that much fun. Go ahead and get it out. Okay, great. I'll sign up for your email now. Yay. But you won't be able to, like, it was the email that went out this morning. So sign up for the email. But also, if you head over to Facebook or Twitter, X, sorry. I don't think I'm ever not going to call it Twitter. But both those, it should automatically, like when I post my email, it automatically posts to both places so you can see the old emails. Brittany said, maybe try a pencil extender for your smaller, shorter color pencil. Well, that's actually not my problem. It doesn't matter because even the longer pencils, it's just that it's little. It's like the angle that I'm holding it, because I have pencil extenders. It doesn't really make a difference when the arthritis is bad. For Patreon, I could do a koala. I have some on Patreon of a koala. I have it in Inktense. I have, what else have I done it in? I did an acrylic koala. There's a long series of live streams that I did an acrylic koala on years ago for the live streams. Python said, good night, everyone. Thank you for an amazing stream. Thank you so much. Yes, it is 10:04. I can go read my book now because I'm addicted. If you guys end up reading that, I need someone to talk to about my book. So let me know if you read it. You should definitely message me about it. Anyway, I will see you guys. I don't know if I'm doing it next week or not. If not next week, I don't know. Probably I will. Who knows? Anyway, I will see you guys soon, very shortly. Make sure to thank our moderators. Nick, who is no longer here, but he worked his butt off, like with a power outage and crazy weather tonight, still getting those questions to me. Joseph and Clark Fine Art, they both have live streams here on a weekly basis. Normally, I can't talk. My brain is gone. I'm just too excited about my book. Link is in the video description. I will see you guys next week. And if you want longer lessons, of course, you can sign up for Patreon for as little as $6 a month. You get access to all of my longer. There are over 400 lessons available, ranging from beginner to more advanced, so you can follow along with those. And that link is in the video description as well. And I feel like, oh, that hit the wrong button. I'm just going to hit all the wrong buttons. I'm really excited about reading my book. Can you tell? I'll see you guys next time.